I recall being locked up once before, and there was this very antagonizing CO who worked there, and he had an ongoing thing with some of the inmates. You know, he'd taunt them, and they'd say something, and he'd say something or whatever. He'd say something, he'd say something. And this guy, one of the inmates there, he claimed to be Jesus. He said that it was Jesus. You know, there's a lot of people out there who for some reason, they say they're Jesus, that he's Jesus Christ. This is another case of one of those guys who says he was Jesus. And I remember the CO says to him one day, I'll tell you, he says, well, your black piss ain't worth shit. He's trying to tell him his work was not anything, and especially it's not of the likes of Jesus. That's understandable why he would say that and how he'd feel that way. Did you see where he's coming from? I mean, here you are, just some guy sitting in prison, an inmate, you know, for who knows what, and you're claiming to be Jesus Christ. So he says to him, look, when I come here tomorrow morning, you make the sun tonight, you make the sun set in the east and rise in the west, and I'll know that you're Jesus Christ. You see how much you need this motherfucker to do in order to believe that he's Jesus Christ? That's how much you need it. I mean, he couldn't just hand you some fish and some fucking bread out of nowhere. No. Jesus Christ had the same issue, to tell you the truth, when he was here. And this is the kind of guy who would have gave Jesus the same situation. Probably the same thing. But he was like, oh, you got a lot more credibility going, you know. You pull fish and bread out of fucking nowhere. But still, for the people that day, it really wasn't good enough. For many of them. They didn't know exactly quite what to make out of it, right? But they knew that he was doing miracles, so-called miracles. I'm not saying so-called because they weren't miracles. I'm saying so-called because, you know, what's a miracle, what's not a miracle? You know? It can all be considered quite miraculous. But his standard was that he caused the sun to set in the east and rise in the west. So don't get me twisted. Don't get it twisted. I understand how crazy you must think it is that I tell you that I am who I am, and I am what I am. It'd be crazy if I didn't see that. It'd certainly be crazy if I didn't see that. It comes off as insane. But I don't think that's getting ready to happen anytime soon. If that's what it takes for you, that the sun set in the east and rise in the fucking west. So if that's what you're expecting, I guess we can just get over that shit right now, because I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway. Now here's the kicker. What if, and now we know we're just talking like what if, right? The sun were to set in the east and rise in the west. Where do you think this guy would have been at then? What do you think would have happened to his reality at this point, the CEO? Do you think he would have said, well, there you go, I guess you are Jesus Christ? And what do you think would have changed the dynamic between him and the guy? Whether he believed him to be Jesus Christ or just a freak, beyond freaks, just the same. How do you think the dynamic between them would have changed? Might have changed. You see? And this is where I'm at. I think he would have stepped to that a little differently, a lot differently. If nothing else. If you had the news, the world would catch on to that and say it was due to this guy right here, whatever the case it was, you know. That's why it happened. Now we have a culprit, or a source of why it was. why it had to be, because the whole world's going to notice that shit, right? It's not just going to be a pseudo reality designed and intended and experienced solely by the CEO. It's going to be a global fucking reality. You know what happens at that point? Regardless of everything going on with that man, you start regarding his piss as a little more valuable, right? But why does it take all that? Because it just simply does. So I guess it suffices to be my black piss won't be worth shit either. Because I highly doubt that the Lord's going to honor me for that purpose, you know, making the sun set in the east and rise in the west. But it's all good. You know what I could do if I get verified for who I am and what I am? First of all, we can put that out there. You say, well, there you go. He's got verification. That's verified. That's certified. At least from enough sources to give it credibility. Crime would be one source for a lot of people. And crime's picking up steam, building steam, picking up steam. It's snowballing, yeah? It's growing and growing and growing. It's not just idling. Before you know it, it'll be global news. Look where they started. And they whisper like a coo in the night. You know? Kind of like a Bible story. You can just come out and say, boom, like a big old trumpet, and everybody's right on point with it, right? Or you can take another route. Nice and slow, glacial. Gradual. And that's the route they've taken. But it's aggregating, yeah? Albeit slowly but surely. Yeah, what might I do with that? Well, first thing I do, I guess I'd get your attention. Wouldn't that get your attention? Would that grasp your attention? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Turns out it's the case after all. That's credible enough. And all the things we could do from there. We could stop this rhetoric for one damn thing. I said, look, here's my credit over here. Can we just jump right into it now? See, for instance, like right now, I'm sitting here trying to get a phone number. I see someone that I'd like to call, or talk to, or communicate with, and I say, hey, let me get your phone number. And so far, it's not working. Now, what if you can confirm, and you knew, hey, that's him, that's Jesus' older brother right there, it's Anthony Terrell Dotson. Oh, shit, you think it'd be so difficult to get your phone number now? They're probably walking up, hey, you want my phone number? We hear you like phone numbers. You like to talk to people and text people. Okay, then you can have my phone number. Let's talk and text. You see what I mean? But as it stands right now, I'm just some nutcase standing here, and my black piss ain't worth shit. Ain't that right, all you people who are confirmed out there, verified? Is that still available? I'm going to look into it. It was available in 2014. I never got around to it. They say, hey, we're going to verify that we're your light worker or not. You can verify that and a whole bunch more for me. You know? And then let everybody know I got verified. How do you even verify that? How do you do that? You just say, oh, yeah. You've got that right thing on your butt right there you was born with, like it was with the Prince and the Pauper on that movie, that production, Prince and Pauper. They didn't know which was the Prince, was the Pauper. They was looking around, oh, I know. And then they looked at him, pulled his pants down, looked at him and said, it is right there. Some shit he was born with on his ass that said his royalty. Looked like a tattoo. But one thing we have to do is we have to get over this trust issue thing, you know? There's a lot of people walking around here, if they don't know you, they're like, man, I don't know you. You know? So they don't trust you. But if I get on the world's most spiritual people, the Watkins, one of the world's most spiritual people on the world's list, you know, because I've been verified as a light worker, which just means by default, you know, whether you're on or off, having an on-off day, on-off moment, you are indeed a spiritual person. It's just the way you come into the situation. It's just what you are. It's in the marrow, or it's the marrow. How do you pronounce it? Of your bones. It's in your DNA. This is what you are, your makeup. So I can get on that right now, or as soon as it's confirmed, and just like that. But you know how that works, actually? So I looked into it. it kind of works like, well, the Pope and the Dalai Lama in that order. The Pope is number one, spiritual person in the world. The Dalai Lama is number two. And I'm getting ready to make a Spice Girls, not a Spice Girls, what do you call it? A Dixie Chicks era right here. I said all kind of shit. Huh? I've said all kind of shit. I've done all kind of shit. But I'm getting ready to fuck up. So I'm going to tell you right now, as far as what I can see, and I've been doing more research, but when I'm getting the gist of it, the Pope ain't shit. But according to this list, it says it's based off some BS. It says you're getting this much notoriety and that much notoriety based on why you're getting it. You know, like the Pope's getting it because he's out there in Rome like he's the president or some shit, some kind of ruler of Rome or some shit. He's got that kind of clout. So by default, by this particular list, that makes him one of the most spiritual people in the fucking world, and the Dalai Lama goes second. And Till Swan comes in 15, and Lee Carroll is 98 or some shit like that. So how many people listen to you versus how many people don't listen to you? How large your audience is how they rank this spiritual person in the world. They don't give a fuck if I got cookies materializing out of thin air. If no one gives a fuck to hear about it or check into it or dial into it, then I become way down the line, maybe fucking 110 most spiritual person in the fucking world. But as soon as I get verified as what I am, as what I say I am, not just any goddamn light worker. Oh, watch the audience that comes in now. I might even beat out the fucking Pope. You say, well, why do you give a shit about such things? I thought spiritual people weren't that way. What the fuck makes you think you have it so well understood if that's what you think? What makes you think it isn't that way? What makes you think it is either fucking way? You say you cuss too much. Is that all there is to it? Well, well, kiss my woolly mammoth black ass. I guess I ought to stop cussing then. And then just like that, I become a spiritual man. See, now he sounds like a spiritual man. He sounds like an enlightened man too. Look how he talks. He talks in circles or talks like he's in some kind of a maze or some shit. He doesn't just talk regular talk like shooting that shit from the hip like he's shooting it right now with all that profanity. He talks like in a fucking maze, you know? No one understands what the fuck he's saying. He's so fucking enlightened. It's so cryptic. Really. So maybe we need to do away with our ideas about what it is and what it isn't. Because to tell the truth, fucking Jesus Christ piss wasn't worth shit either. Now the cup that he drank out of, what do they call it? The Holy Grail? Maybe that was worth something. Did it say anywhere in the Bible about if you drink his piss, you'd have eternal life? And a lot of people didn't believe it anyway. They thought he was doing devil's work. And as far as I know, he said not one profane word. They said no one said anything about him saying any profane words. But what if he were saying profane words? What if he was? What is like shit? It's like now he comes with all this blasphemy, you know? But he's a glutton and he's a wine bibber. They accuse him of that. Now, how the fuck is this a God, man of God? He eats and farts and shits and pisses. And he eats too fucking much. And he drinks wine. We don't give a fuck if he did say, hey, look, through the Lord, the Father within him. They said, it's the Father does the work, not I who does the works. The Father within me does the works. You know? That in the wedding, the water was cast in the wine. You're good enough to cast in the wine, but you're not good enough to drink it down and say, yeah, that's hey, gets my stamp of approval. Hey, have a fucking glass. Or a grail or a chalice, whatever the fuck you usually drink out of it, motherfucker. Don't trust me. I be walking around right now. The most spiritual fucking person in the world. The fucking Pope John, whatever the fuck he is, 5th, 15th, 16th, 21st, 22nd. Paul, whatever the fuck they call him. They're all John, some shit or another, right? So you know they're good and fucking holy. Nice biblical fucking name. And then start doing the shit I'm doing right now. And does that make me any less fucking spiritual? You know, it just boggles my mind. I lose patience with it. And that's why that's why I'm getting a little aggravated right now. The whole thing's pissing me off. You know? So let me look further into what it is to get fucking verified here. Are they still honoring the verification of light workers? And you can verify that I'm a light worker. And somebody, yeah, he's a light worker. And then all of a sudden you say, well, he's got a fucking potty mouth. He needs some Orbit chewing gum or something or another. But he is what the fuck he says he is, according to the verification, goddamn, whatever you call it. Process. you know? Hey, man. Maybe one day I'll stop feeling things. I'll stop bleeding. I'll stop eating. I just came from a Chinese restaurant, matter of fact, and stuffed my face like a glutton. But I didn't stuff my face too much. But just the same, it's a fucking buffet, you know? What are you supposed to do? Go in there and have 1 plate or 2 plates and say I'm done? At least have 3 fucking plates. And that's what the fuck I did. So that makes me what? According to the people in Jesus' day. My piss ain't worth shit. Why are we so judgmental? Maybe, and it's a possibility, maybe these days, the one who decides these things, along with the ones who, like I said in the Lightworkers Handbook, said, well, the Lightworkers decided they want to go in another direction. Oh, really? So the Lightworkers decided they want to go in another direction. The Lord had nothing to do with that shit? That wasn't his plan in the beginning? Something he instilled in Lightworkers? I don't know. The Starseeds? I don't know. It could be. Maybe the Lightworkers just came up with all by them fucking selves and say, hey, here's a plan I want to implement and do. Lord, they're that special. Maybe they are that fucking special, and they gave it to Almighty, and Almighty said, oh, yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. You know, but anyhow, hey, I paused the video. To tell you the truth, I lost my damn place. I did so much digressing. Usually I don't do that, but I don't know. I was talking about Chinese food, right? I was talking about Chinese food. I was talking about glutton and wine bibber. You know what? If I haven't made a point yet, fuck it. I'll put in the description perhaps if I can recall what it was. Maybe this has run its course. So, au revoir. It's funny now, right? And they're live from the score. Oh yeah, that's about getting verified. Verified as a light worker. I guess I would be like a jokey light worker of all the light workers. Like, you know, like Jokey Smurf? Out of all the Smurfs? Jokey Smurf? You say, well, here's Jokey Smurf. There's Brainy Smurf. Here's Papa Smurf. Here's Smurfette. And here's Sleepy Smurf. Here's Lazy Smurf. Here's Brawny Smurf. And here's Jokey Smurf. You know, some people actually don't think God has a sense of humor. You ever read that book or listened to the audio? The audio book of Conversations with God? There was this guy, supposedly, for those who haven't, who was asking and asking and asking and asking and asking, oh, no, you know, seeking and seeking and asking and asking, and then he finally received it because he wanted to have a conversation with God, and he wanted to know that it was really God, and he wanted the real deal to show up and have a conversation with him. Which brings me to my fucking point. We have an even better point to make now. We did lose the other point that we were talking about a moment ago, and this is how we lost it, by digressing. And he says, you know, after much ado, much seeking and asking, God finally shows up. Like it was Forrest Gump in that movie. He said, and good. You know, Lieutenant Dan was praying or something. They were praying for the shrimping boat and for the shrimp to show up or something like that. Or he was taunting God. And he said, and finally God showed up because they started thundering and everything. So he was seeking. And now God shows up. So he says in the book. So he's like, okay, now, see, this is what I said I'm doing. So he says in the book. I can't confirm that. Only confirmation I have from that is him and him alone. What he said and what he didn't say. He sold a fucking book on that shit. Entitled Conversations with God. Jesus never said anything about it. Archangel Michael never said anything about it. He never had a credit in there anywhere from anywhere but him and something that he considered to be God. And he sold that book, and it sold like fucking hotcakes. So any fucking way. God supposedly shows up. And they said, well, let's get into it, right? So he's like, okay, sure, let's get into it. It's like, first thing he wants to know, like the burning bush out there with Moses or whoever it was in that book of Moses, Exodus or whatever it was they did that in. He says, well, now how do I know that you're God? It's the obvious thing you do, right? It's that obvious. Something shows up, it says, well, my name is this and my name is that. And you're like, that's great. So how do I know that? And so, well, who are you? I am. So anyway, supposedly he's in conversation with God now. So now he's got to put him to the test. He wants to know, who are you? Where are you coming from? What side do you hang on? You saying hang on the left? You hang on the right? Who the fuck are you? Now we're back to the trust issue we had a moment ago with people not wanting to give me their phone number so I can contact them and text them and talk to them and send them things like pictures and videos and other silly things like good morning postcards or some shit that you take an image of and send over there. Now, they trust me. Maybe they, yeah, sure, why not? Here, humor me. And just give me the phone number and go their fucking way. Now we're having a conversation. We're getting to know one another. So come down to that. So he wants to know, who are you? Who are you? What side you hanging on? Your left or right? And who are you? So anyway, he wants to know how come God has a sense of humor at some point. Because he says in the book, the audiobook as well, it's like he's getting flippant. Why are you being flippant? I'm so serious already. Why are you being flippant? So he's like, if you're really God, then I guess you're supposed to talk in a way, in such a cryptic way, in such a other surreal, preternatural way, so deep and so profound that I couldn't even barely comprehend you. Like Jesus spoke fucking parables or some shit. Let alone all this humor that you're coming up with. Why is that? Why do you have a sense of humor? Why are you being so flippant? And God said, well, shit, where do you think humor came from? Supposedly it was God. It's like I'm the orchestrator of humor. So that's what I'm trying to say. You just gotta take it for what it is. Maybe what I'm saying that's what I was trying to say. Maybe the objective is that light workers come here and show you that maybe God is not so worked up anymore on that you sticking to certain standards like you used to. You're not gonna do it. Thou shalt not look at ass. I'm looking at ass all day, every fucking day. You're not. You say, yeah, we're looking at ass and doing a lot more than that. Now you say, that's blasphemous. Well, then I guess you're blasphemous then, and there's no hope for you. Maybe it's not that big of a deal to look at ass. Maybe the Lord's like, okay, God never changes. I'm the main one looking at ass, he may say. I'm looking at ass through you. Who put the eyeballs in your fucking head? Like he said, I'm the orchestrator of humor. Why can I not have a sense of humor? I'm the orchestrator of sex. And yet you say it's so this and it's so that, to the point you have to be at least 18 in this country, United States of America, before someone says legally you can go and do it. So you're telling them, hey, look, it's so this and so that, it's so taboo, it's so what do you call it? I don't know, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I have got words, but it's not the electrically prompt word like Mark Twain spoke of. It's so detestable. It's so whatever that you can't do it. So they put a big old circle on it and a motherfucking line through the fucking circle, the red circle that says 18 fucking only. Really? Well, tell me what the fuck it was about me when I was 10 years old in the goddamn closet. And you say, you're 10? Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. You don't want the truth? 10 years old in the closet with a magazine that had all those circles and fucking lines through the circles, talking about 18 only, and I'm over here having dates with women in their 30s. In the magazine. Unbeknownst to them. I wanted to really write them a fucking letter, but I was embarrassed about my penmanship and the things I had to say at fucking 10 years old. I wasn't one of these really advanced kids. I caught up eventually, and it's still not all that impressive, but I caught up eventually. But at 10 years old, my shit looked like fucking stupid shit. So you say, well, that's so this and that's so that. According to what? According to your laws or man's laws or nature's laws? Because I tell you, no one had to tell me what to do and how to do it. And I got along just fine in that goddamn closet. And why did I choose to go to the closet? Why not just do it right out there in the open in the fucking living room? Because you have a natural way about you that says this is taboo, and this is this and this is that. Why? Because it feels good? Tell me why it is that way. I don't even know why it's that way. Why do you have an issue? Why are you so bent up and so repressed about it? Because you read the Bible so fucking much? And the Bible tells you that it's wrong? How the fuck is it wrong? Maybe it's just what works and what doesn't work. And we can take the titles of wrong and right away from it. It's wrong because it doesn't work. It's right because it does work, according to what we've got going on out here. Maybe that's the way you gotta approach it instead, right? Because ain't nobody coming in this motherfucker without sex. And anybody showing the fuck getting out of this motherfucker without sex. At some point, sex had to happen. And it's not just human beings. Everything just about that's mobile and animated. You know, even flowers have their version of sex, and the birds and the bees is what they fucking call it. And now I've got a head case about this shit at 10 years of age. And to some extent or another, it's never stopped. And you're not making it any fucking easier. on me. And here I am, 50 fucking 1, going on 52 shortly. But let's not talk about tomorrow, because sufficient are the fucking problems of the day, right? But the point is, maybe the God, the Lord, wants people just to say, look, man, just relax on that a little bit, you know? Relax on this, relax on that. It's not that big of a fucking deal. You know? Let's move on from that. Because you are what you are. He expects you, people, according to the Holy Bible that you read so much, that got you so repressed and bent up, not to look at ass until you're married. You know what? I can't afford to get fucking married. It takes money in this goddamn country to get married. Once again, we're going back to the rights and wrongs of what people say. The book say get married? Is that where it said in the Bible get married? And the power invested in me, I now pronounce you man and wife? So you go to a magistrate, that's just as good as a preacher man. I don't get it. I really don't. So once you start helping me understand what it is, then maybe I'll understand. See, I think some of you really want me to understand, you know? Now, what would you have done if you caught me at 10 years of age with that magazine in the closet? What would you have said? What would you have done? I was very careful about it. I left socks in the fucking closet, and, you know, over time, the socks that were quite, I don't know, malleable at first, you know, you can fold them and do all kinds of shit with them. They got to be about as hard as that motherfucker right there, and they was good for nothing, I guess, but washing and putting in some fucking water or throwing them the fuck away. About as stiff as that shit right there. So I guess I was very careful about it, because no one ever went into my fucking closet until now, as I'm being so forthcoming with all these things, because I'm really trying to understand things and express things and understand things. Why are you so worked up about things, certain things, you know? It's just one of the most natural things there is sex. And this is supposed to be such a progressive country. You know, I see women walking around all the time. Not men so much, if ever. Saying, hey, I'm quite liberated about my body. Hey, Justin Bieber, he just finally stepped up. Here not too long ago, got on the Grammys, was it? Yeah, got on the Grammys in nothing but his boxer shorts. Paris Jackson rather. She's way ahead of the curve, right? Whatever. I already got my black ass all over the fucking internet in various states of undress. If I ever become something more than someone whose black piss isn't worth shit in life, well, there it is. It's already there. I don't give a fuck. Big deal. If it wasn't such an issue for you and everybody else, I'd walk around here butt naked as the day I was fucking born. Trust me, my package looks a lot bigger when it's not fucking closed by fucking some article of clothing or some shit. You know, concealed by some article of clothing or some shit, huh? Bigger or otherwise. It looks better. It doesn't look so fucking well. That's a whole nother thing. You know? You're trying to look at my package and fill me out. No. Long story short. Let's end it right there, because I'm about to get into some shit that maybe it's run its course. I guess in short, I'm trying to say this, and I'll leave it at that. Like, if I was walking around right now and I had on some pants, and you're looking for maybe a print in the pants and you can't find it, okay, I guarantee you this. You take the pants off, the underwear off, and whatever else is concealing it, unless you're fucking really got some eye deficits or some shit with your eyes, you'll find it then. Does that make sense?